right there, let's talk sports fans. Thanks for tuning in.
Muted. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Let's Talk Sports show. I am your host, Bodkins. What's up, everybody? Man, it is a lovely Thursday night. So this is what's on deck for tonight. We are going to be doing our NBA playoff preview. And our then on the back end of the show, we'll do our NBA top 10 list of all time. So we'll be getting all that. Now, I know what you're saying. We still got these two playing games left on tomorrow night, on Friday night. But nonetheless, we know what the matchups are going to be, or vice versa, outside the 8th seed. But if there was ever a time for the NBA to look at this stupid-ass play-in tournament, is now, and to get rid of it now. Just look at the injuries that happened Thursday night, I believe it was, or Tuesday night, I believe it was. Tonight's Thursday. Tuesday night, Zion is absolutely dominating, trying to bring back the 7th seed Pelicans against the 8th seed Lakers. He's dominating them, gets hurt in a meaningless basketball game. The Pelicans made the playoffs, and now they're gonna. And I like the Kings. I've been on the Kings bandwagon, but now they're gonna have to play the Kings without Zion, because Zion had to play in this dumbass play-in tournament when his team made the playoffs already, and they're probably going to lose, because I would favor the the Kings without Zion for the Pelicans. And then you got last night's game. It's the same thing. It's Heat and the 76ers. Both teams already in the playoffs. They're 7-8. They did enough. 82 games of the season. This is why you play 82 games, and then Jimmy Butler gets hurt when they would have been the 8th seed taking on Boston. Butler gets hurt. I believe it's his MCL. He would be out for a few weeks, and now you got the Bulls and the Heat playing tomorrow night, and I would favor the Bulls in that game, even though they've been an absolute clown show all season. But it's time to get rid of this play-in tournament. You had two big stars in Jimmy Butler and Zion that could use the NBA playoffs going forward out because of meaningless fucking basketball, because the NBA decided, you know what, we might as well let two more teams try to play in this stupid tournament. No, you got 82 games. There's 82 games. The whole season is a damn tournament. Let them play. That's decides 16 teams of your 30 teams to get in the playoffs. We don't need a play-in tournament. And now the two of the teams who are have two of the biggest stars who should be in the playoffs are probably going to be out of the playoffs because their best player got hurt in meaningless basketball. They had already made the playoffs. The Bulls don't need in, as much as I'm somewhat of a Bulls fan still in my life. They don't need in. The Kings had 82 games. As much as I think Sabonis should get MVP votes, he shouldn't be in the playoffs. They did enough. They didn't get in. They shouldn't be in, and now we got to miss. Now Jimmy is hurt and Zion's hurt. Shouldn't be happening. One guy that is happy that the Heat lost last night is none other than the Hall of Famer Scott Kobe, who did say he doubled down on his Boston Celtics making the Eastern Conference Finals. Scott, what's up, my man?
Not much. I love the play-in tournament. It is so good. It's great for the NBA. It all opened up for the Celtics after Butler's injury last night. I can't see them losing to anybody now. Even if they play Miami, I'm not going to lose to Miami.
No, so. I mean, not without Jimmy. Jimmy's out for a few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, if he comes back, it would be a game 7, and he's probably a decoy if he comes back, which I don't think he will. But,
told Oubre, hey, next time it's on site, we throwing hands.
Well, Michael, his dad will be there with him, so there's nothing to worry about. It's totally.
I'm not a fan. I wasn't a fan of the play-in tournament already, and then to see Zion and Jimmy get hurt And I get they could have got hurt in game one of the playoffs, but at least that game means more than these play-in tournaments. They did enough to 82 games.
Play-in tournament is nothing more than a cash grab for the NBA because everybody wants to see. I mean, look at the Western Conference: Zion, LeBron, Steph, and a young Sacramento team who's really good that nobody knows about. So they got everything they wanted in the West. And in the East, it's Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid, and then Chicago, Atlanta, which is terrible. But
I mean, Atlanta, the Bulls, I believe, were they both under 500 last? Yeah, like 82 games, Scott. You don't, and you're allowing 16 teams, and you don't need to be in the playoffs.
I agree with you, Nick. If you can't sell it in 82 games, there's something seriously wrong with the NBA. And there's something seriously wrong because the NBA could have had Embiid or Butler against the Knicks in New York in the biggest stage of the NBA, one of the biggest stages, and they could have had either Embiid or Butler playing the Celtics, who has been the East's best team all year long.
It would have been Philly and the Knicks. It would have been Philly and the Knicks because the Philly was the 7th seed if we didn't have to play in tournament.
That's right. The game was in Philly, but that's theater enough for me in the NBA. Come on. I mean, look at the. I mean, Giannis is out for maybe 2 games. That's a killer for the NBA. Butler is now down for weeks. That's a killer for the NBA.
They got to win tomorrow night to even play in the eighth spot. You know,
that's right. Zion is out. If they beat Sacramento tomorrow night, he could be out for games in the playoffs. That's a killer for the NBA. All these big stars are not going to be seen, and then the Lakers are going to get swept by the Nuggets.
And Joel Embiid, the reigning MVP, is coming back from an injury, and you're making him play an extra game.
Yep. And he looked terrible in the first half, and he got it together in the second half. So to me, it just comes down.
I believe they play Saturday, and then they turn around and play Monday or something like that. Like they play.
Which doesn't beat no favors to turn around and play good. It's just. You know what? In the semifinals of the Eastern Conference, you could have a Celtics team who just swept by Miami or Chicago. You could have a Milwaukee team that could have a banged up Giannis or an Indiana team who's very young and is very good. Do you really want that? I mean, you want the best teams to go the furthest in the playoffs? And now you won't have that. And you won't have that in both conferences. So that's a
I think I would also like the first round to go back to best of 5. Do we really need 7 games in the first round?
No, because I remember, Celtics Knicks in the first round when Ewing was still playing, and the Knicks beat them in 5 games. That game 5 was tense. It was a phenomenal game, and that's because it was game 5. Now game 5 in the first round is just another game, so to speak. So
I would like to go back to +5, and can we? That's always been my gripe with the NBA is first round needs to be 5 games and best of 5, and stop the damn you play game half the time you play game 1 on Saturday and then you wait till freaking Wednesday to play game 2. Like it should be back to back, skip a day for travel, back to back, skip a day for that's the way it should be.
That's what the Celtics are doing. The game 1 is Sunday, I believe, with the Celtics, and then game 2 is like Wednesday. Why do you need 2 days off between game 1 and game 2? Come on, really?
And you're not traveling.
You're not traveling. You're in Boston for the first 2. Yeah, I agree. It's ridiculous.
It's been my
even if it's Chicago, Boston in the first round, it's not that far to travel. The players have done it all year long, back to backs, home and then out, to Minnesota, Chicago, whatever. You've done it all year long. Just keep doing it. Playoffs could be over at the end of May.
It's my biggest gripe of the NBA, especially in the postseason, is that they don't play the back-to-back. It's too much time in between. We'll go ahead and bring in our third colleague tonight to give it up for Mr. First Down. Sam, what's up, my man?
How we doing, guys? Sitting here learning who to put on my top 10, if I'm going to look like an idiot or not. But as you said cleverly before the show, I'm going to look like an idiot anyway. So head on a swivel. boys, head on a swivel. Hope you're doing well.
Congratulations to your guy, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it is what it is. They've let them, as lowly as you talk about the Red Sox, they do have good hitters. And
they do.
They do. They win and they seem to pop up. But there's a couple of games there, Scott, where I'm like, just put them away. And then they bring in another pitcher and he just gives it right back to him. And I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah, baseball's overmanaged a lot now. It's like, one guy's on, we better go get the lefty to face a couple.
It was good to see Curry. Curry pitched well. BB pitched well, which is promising. They really need to. I think they really need to put Barlow in a little bit more. Personally, I thought he did fine.
Like I said before the season started, they need to win as many games now as they can because the tough part of the schedule is coming.
Yeah,
it's coming.
I think you're right because I think they're. I don't know. They seem to be playing more aggressively in this series than they have before, and I think Vaughn knows that. And they're trying to steal a lot more bases and just be very, very – and it became more of, hey, stop trying to hit the homer and just get on base. Just get on base. And that's what it turned into.
I agree.
We're going to be NBA-centric for the most part tonight, all NBA for us. We're getting ready to talk about the playoff matchups. But, Scott, I wanted to ask you as here before the last night, the other night, our Tuesday night, the Warriors lost. It's over, right? Like, I mean, this rendition of the Warriors, it's over. Like the Curry, the Thompson, the Draymond. I don't know. Steve Kerr came out and said they want to bring Clay back. I don't know if you can win a championship again if Klay Thompson's your second best player. I love Klay Thompson, but he's never been the same since he came back from those brutal leg injuries.
Yeah, the other thing is Draymond's making $25 million. Who wants? Somebody's going to want that contract. I don't know if they're willing to part with him. The one thing that I know that if Steve Kerr leaves, then it's over. I think because Steve Kerr has been very adamant that this team can win as constructed. This team can be successful as constructed. I don't think so. You saw Klay Thompson at his worst. I think since his surgeries, he's never been the same player again.
Yeah, I mean, he missed two full years of basketball, like day here. You know what I mean? Like it's just that's tough. That's tough to do.
Yeah, and what's Draymond? What do we know Draymond to do? He pops off every 3-4 games, and he gets himself.
And he had to sit out half the season, right? Like because of his own shenanigans.
Yeah. So to me, the West is a lot of very young teams right now. OKC, Minnesota, Denver is still kind of young. They're not going to compete with those teams. They're just not. Sacramento.
They're not getting any young. Yes, Steph Curry and Klay and Draymond. They're not getting any younger. And you still got Chris Paul. He said he likes to come back. I think his contract. He's a free agent. I think. They're not getting any younger. And you look at the West. Yeah. You look at all the young teams. OKC. Young team. Denver, young team still. Young team. Minnesota, young team. Dallas, youngest team. You know what I mean? Like Sacramento, young team. New Orleans, young team. Houston, who was right on the cusp of the playoffs at 500, very young team. And they could all each add a piece. Memphis, once Ja gets back, and if Ja Morant gets fully going again, remember how good they were when he was going. And San Antonio with Wembyana could be there. Could you know what I mean? Another year or two.
That's the Trae Young. That's the Trae Young rumored destination is San Antonio. So, don't know if it's going to happen. I don't think it will happen. It might because San Antonio is a long way away from competing for a playoff spot, so to speak. But they're getting there. Yeah. They're starting to put the pieces together. I mean, Steph Curry. I mean, he's done as much as he can do over the last 5 to 10 years. It's about time they give him some help and get him.
It's time. He said he wants Klay and Dre back, so he's going to be a victim. He could be a victim of that. You know what I mean? Of just his guys to stick around too long.
Well, my question would be, how much does a GM value Steph's input? I don't know how much this new GM values his input. If he values it a lot, they'll run it back with the same guy, or they'll try to run it back with the same guys, which is a huge mistake in the NBA. Never mind the Western Conference. Just look at the NBA in general. It's a huge mistake. The Celtics, still a youngish team. The Knicks, youngish team. And then, as you said, OKC, Minnesota, and Denver, and Dallas, and Houston, still youngish team. So you're making a huge mistake if you don't get younger. Chris Paul's gone. He's got to be gone. He just
I didn't like the trade when they made the move. I knew that you knew Poole or Draymond had to go, and they decided to stay with Draymond. Sam, you're I mean, to put it in context for you, like you're a Titans fan. They had to pull the Band-Aid off finally this year. That's what it looks like for the Warriors. Is like, but they want to keep the Band-Aid on and try to milk this for as long as they can.
History should tell you that you should just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off and just try to get it done. If it's one thing, it's consistent football, baseball, or whatever. Holding on to somebody and going, "Come on, we can still do it," is just not a good idea in the long run.
Klay Thompson had his worst year of his career this year. I mean, points, minutes, everything. If you're asking him to come back and be the second best player on your team again, they're going to be in the same spot, if not worse, next year.
Yeah, I mean, do what you got to do, right? So somebody has to tell everybody to wake up, smell the coffee, rip the Band-Aid. And I don't know if that's is it a GM? Is it still general manager in basketball?
Yep.
Yeah, there is. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if the GM or something, but somebody needs to be like, "Hey, look, we're going to have to tear it down, build it back up again."
I think the general manager that wanted to do that is no longer there. I think I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Scott,
Bob Myers. Bob Myers.
Yeah, Bob Myers. I think he
that kind of situation is it.
Yeah, I think he wanted to.
He
wanted to go
because he knew stuff was going to happen. This stuff was going on.
Yeah,
he knew.
Yeah. I think he was ready to blow it up, and then you could see that you felt like they're building that new core, that last super NBA Finals run, and then it felt like after he left and they brought in Dunleavy is he's a former player, so I think he believes in listening to the star player and listen to Steph and not making his own decisions, and then that's how they got stuck with Draymond and Klay again. And Klay's a free agent, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. He's going to have to take a huge pay cut.
Question for the group, though, like how long do you let it stink? Right? Is it in basketball? Is it different? Do you try to fix it? Like, do you let them stink for 3 years before you try to do something?
Well, here's the thing. I'll go back to the '80s Celtics, the team that I grew up on. They let Bird, McHale, and Parrish they would not trade him. They refused to do it, and it bit them in the ass, so to speak, because they got old, they got injured, and then they started to get average. And in the NBA,
they got real old.
And then in the NBA you cannot be average. And right now the Golden State Warriors are average, and if they keep this team together, they will become below average. So they got blown out by Sacramento in the play-in game. And about 3 years ago, that would never have happened.
I mean, last year they beat Sacramento in the first round. Remember, they were I believe they were Sacramento was the 2 seed, and they were the 7 seed and beat them.
Yep. So you've seen the drop with Golden State start to happen. They were the 1 seed. They were in the top 3 seeds in the Western Conference. Then they became a middling team. And now they're just barely making the play-in. So you could see this drop starting to happen with Golden State. And right now, they just have to blow it up and restart it again. If they've got to be bad for a couple of years until they can get good again, then that's what's going to have to happen. So
yeah, Rob's right here. Father Time's undefeated. You're exactly right.
Absolutely.
Rob Thomas.
Robert, what's up?
If Father
he's not
Time
crazy,
remains,
just a little unwell.
Yes,
that's what he's right.
Is, but he's absolutely 100%. I just think it's Golden State's time to blow it up and start it over again.
And to answer your question, in the NBA, Sam, to me, you're always just one player away, like one draft pick away from really rebooting. Look at it. It could take a little while, and sometimes you don't ever get that number one superstar, and sometimes you collect them if you do it the right way. Look at the Thunder. It took them a while after they finally got rid of Westbrook, Durant, Harden, and they finally all that went, and they traded them all, got a bunch of draft picks, and have built that team back up. And now in a few years, and they still have a shit ton of draft picks, and they're the number one team in the Western Conference. So they're a young team, and now they look ready to go on a run here. I don't think, and we'll get into it here in just a little bit, but the playoff, I don't know how far they'll go. I think that they need some experience first playing in April and May before I trust them. But because that's just kind of how the NBA works. But real quick on the other NBA front before we break down these predictions, Scott, you're the gambler. How about and we have all the Shohei stuff, but the guy up in Toronto, Jonte, what's his name? Jonte Parker.
Jonte Porter. He's at Michael Porter's brother.
Okay. Yeah, I knew he played at Mizzou. I didn't know they were brothers. I couldn't remember if they were brothers.
Yeah, they're brothers. So, yeah, I mean, the thing I don't understand about these athletes is this: they don't think they'll ever be caught. Okay,
Amen, Robert.
You don't think you're ever going to be caught doing something. From what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, he had his mother place this bet for him.
Wow.
His mother.
So I don't know. I didn't hear that part. I know Windhorst said he did three illegal things. Number one, he bet on his team to lose.
Bet on his team. Yep.
And then he bet on his props, took himself out of the game and said he was sick. And it was like $75,000 bet on whether the over or under on his points would hit. And that's kind of what led him to start looking into it. And the crazy thing is, like, he only made like $24,000.
Yeah, and the bet would have paid out $1.1 million.
Oh, my God.
That would have paid out $1.1 million. So, and if you remember the Temple scandal for a little bit in college. The Temple was, all of a sudden these point spreads would go haywire and they would drop and rise within the course of 2 hours. So when you see something like this and you see a huge bet put on a guy that doesn't play more than 4 minutes a game, basically, okay?
Yeah.
He doesn't play. And then he ran up and down the court.
He was starting to play because they had some injuries, and that's why like the over under was getting like 10 and a half, up there. And then he pulled himself out of like 2 of those games or something like that. Now he's
this guy is like one of those where teammates go, don't pass him the ball, don't give it to him, just have him run up and down the court, don't give it to, let him play defense, don't.
He's not even on the team. He's not even there.
Yeah, it's like 4-on-5. So because he only gets 4 minutes. The coaches know the same thing. Hey, this guy's not good enough, but we need to stick him in to get guys some rest. So we'll put him in. When you're doing that, when you're doing stuff like that, good on the NBA. I'm glad the NBA got this, because if they allowed this to go through, and what the sports books did, from what I understand, what I heard this morning on a program, is they froze the bet.
Yeah.
They did not pay him out.
They didn't pay it out. They didn't pay it out.
Right.
Yeah.
What happens is, I guess, from what this guy was saying this morning, is the sports book will go to the state's commission and ask them to rescind the bet or void the bet out. And I think that's what they're doing, is they've gone to the state's commission and said this bet needs to be voided, and the commission will come through with a voided bet. So whoever bet the $80,000 for him, or whoever did it, is not going to get the $1.1 million. They're going to get a voided bet back for the money that they put in, or they may not even see the money. The sports book may say, "Hey, you did something illegal. We're keeping the money. You're not seeing it."
I think they probably they'll probably keep it. Yeah, he pretty dumb, Robert. That's I agree. I mean,
he's so
you played in the
stupid.
NBA. You got an opportunity of a lifetime. And what Wendy was saying today was like, this is a guy in the league, and then he got booted out of the league, worked his way, went overseas, played well, made his way back into the league. The G League, made his back way. So like, you finally are getting there, and you're getting playing time because you're on a shitty team. and they got a bunch of injuries, and then you just throw it all away for dumb.
If I'm not mistaken, he can go back overseas and play again, I think.
Yeah, he's just banned from the NBA. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what he's going to do. He's going to go back overseas and he's going to play over there again.
But if I'm a guy, if I'm his teammate, and you're betting on us to lose, like you bet on us to lose. So how much?
How much?
I mean? Like I don't want
that.
If I'm the coach, and I may get fired for this, if I'm the coach, I'm telling the other 11 to 13 players, surround him, beat his ass up. I don't want him getting out of town.
Did you order the code red? You're damn right I did.
Yeah,
seriously.
Exactly.
You bet your own team to lose. You bet us to lose. You're trying to cost us a game. That doesn't sit well with me. I'm telling the other players, if you want to beat them up, I know nothing. I'm fine with it.
It'll be like that scene in Full Metal Jacket where they hold him down and give him a nice bathroom. Or a code red.
He's got to be moved out of town and gone faster than.
And that's what I'm saying. Even if he goes overseas, I wouldn't want to play with him. I always went into a mindset, and I feel like every athlete, you have to. I tell my son this: no matter, every time you step on that basketball, you got to believe you're going to win. That's first of all, that's the first battle. I don't care who you're playing against, what team I'm playing against. I believe I'm going to win. I believe we're going to win.
That's right.
Like you got to have that mindset and believe in yourself and your team. Now, some games are going to be tough? Absolutely. You know what I mean? But you got to go in thinking you're going to win, because if the minute you got that, out your head, you know what I mean? They already won.
Listen, when I coached, there was no game I didn't think my team could win. I knew we were at a disadvantage, but there's no game I didn't think we could win. And I'm sure Sam goes to Titans games and says the same thing. This is going to be a tough game, but we could win this game. I see a path to us winning. But you never go to a game or whatever saying, let's just play. We're going to lose. We're going to lose.
Yeah, I'm going to bet that we lose. I bet that we lose. Like,
you know what I mean? Run up and down the court. Yeah, I mean, pro betting is a lot different, for Sam, for me, for you. We bet against our team sometimes because we just see the writing on the wall. But I bet against the Patriots a lot because last year I just saw the writing on the wall. But that's different than when you're playing.
It's different as a fan betting than it is as a player betting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're a player,
if you were playing, how much effort are you really putting in? If knowing that you put $10,000 on us to lose tonight, you know what I mean?
Exactly. I agree.
Money line or the spread. That's what I need to know.
But the thing is you shouldn't be betting it. There's so much ways to bet out there now. There's so many opportunities. You have to go to a friend or something and just say, hey, listen, bet 10,000 on us to win. Here's the 10,000. Bet on us to win.
Well, I know that'll get you in trouble. That'll get you in trouble.
Yeah, but
you got to stay out of it. You just got to stay out of
it. You're not saying, I'm going to play 35 seconds and pull myself out. We're going to lose.
Yeah.
Bet on my prop. It's 4.5 points. Bet on my prop under, because I'm just going to pull myself out. This is all planned. What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Get out. And the NBA made an example of him. Good for him. Good for him.
Good for them.
And I don't.
I hope his brother doesn't get any more. I hope his brother doesn't get any more.
Yeah, and that's the reason. I believe the state of Louisiana, they have now eliminated all college prop bets for players.
That's coming.
And I'm okay.
Boston,
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too. Boston does not have that.
Yeah,
Boston does not have any prop bets for college athletes at all. So I can't even touch them. I'd love to touch them, but I can't.
Yeah, and I think, and I'm okay. It's because I look at it, even with the NIL deal right now, kids are getting a lot of money, so I'm okay with that. But, perfectly, I believe that. But you're asking a lot of an 18, 19-year-old kid not to, you know what I mean? To that's dangerous stuff. Kid, I would probably be like, shit, I'm going to fucking put the over on my 200 pack, you know what I mean? Or I'm going to force it down.
Yeah.
Hey, if you mention you're the quarterback, you're like, hey, the over under, 250 yards passing, the coach calls a run play, and you fucking check to a pass play 5 times because you're trying to get the 250 yards.
Yeah, and with the NIL where you get the money, I mean, Zach Edey's sitting in his college dorm room or wherever saying, they only got me down for 8.5 rebounds. I'm betting 10,000 on me to get over 8.5 rebounds. Come on. I mean,
yeah.
You almost
Edey didn't get no money from Purdue, though.
Yeah, in college sports, you got to bet. You got to ban it all over the place. You just can't do it.
Yeah,
you can't do it. So
they got to change that too for old Zachy. International players aren't allowed any NIL money.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right.
He didn't get a dime, allegedly.
That is
from Purdue.
Allegedly. Yeah.
I always loved, what was it, when Lindell White was on the bus with Taylor Lewan. And he's like, oh, come on, how much did you get paid? And he goes, I never saw money. I never did anything. He goes, okay, what'd you drive? And he's like, a Mercedes. Like, come on, man. Come on.
Allegedly.
It's all allegedly. It's not definite until you see it. But
there's always there's always stuff like that around. I mean, even in here in the SEC, there's like supposedly there was a car dealership. Not supposedly, it's a fact. Okay, there's a car dealership that paid Vanderbilt players to detail cars, right? And all they do was show up and take a check and walk off. And there's stores that had opened up in Alabama, right? And they're selling off autograph stuff. And then as soon as somebody showed up,
Nick Saban owned several different dealerships in in Tuscaloosa. Exactly. I mean,
this isn't hard. Like, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
So Nick Saban goes into a kid's living room with their parents to recruit. And he recruits them, and then at the end he says, "You can have any car in the lot you want. Here's the cars. Pick one.
Yeah,
it's all
pick
yours."
I bet you that's part of the deal. We'll get her one.
That's got to be part of the deal when he goes in. I mean, he's not coaching anymore, but I bet you when he coached, a couple of 5-star recruits, he said, "Hey, you want a car? You pick a car, whatever you want."
100%. 100%.
That works something out. It'll be in my name, but you drive it. Yeah,
you drive it.
That's right.
Rob's right. They should have never been not been paid. The NIL is the best thing for labor rights. Exactly, Rob. These kids are making, especially in football. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, they're making millions of dollars for these universities.
Yep.
And these poor kids are, you get paid in education. Yeah. Well, yeah. It is a mess. They got to regulate a little bit. I feel like it is the Wild Wild West.
I think.
We'll
let's
go ahead and jump into.
Some people don't like this, but they had talked about it on The Athletic, a flat rate for everybody. Like, everybody gets $5 million, done.
No, you can't do that. You can't do it. You gotta pay the kid on the bench $2.5 million. Same money you paying Zach Edey or $250,000. Zach Edey's an all-world player, or not even that. Klingon, whoever it may be. You can't do that. You have to do it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think
I agree.
Well, why couldn't you give them, like, just say everybody gets $5 million? Now everybody, I mean, that's
not everybody's worth $5 million, Sam.
You want money? You want money? I'll tell you where to go.
Just like in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, the quarterbacks are getting paid more than everybody. You're getting paid more than a kicker. You're gonna pay that. So by your standard, you're saying Caleb Williams should be making the same amount of NIL money as the kicker at USC. They ain't coming.
I'm just saying it would stop people from, if everybody's getting paid the same, then we don't have any of these a million transfer portals a freaking week.
No, you still do. You still will.
I think they got to. I'd like to see some regulation on the transfer portal. I would, because I think you should only be able to transfer twice.
I agree, because what are these kids doing? 1 year at West Virginia, I'm going to transfer. I'll go to Purdue. All right, 1 year at Purdue. You know what? I'm going to make more money.
Iowa got the best offensive lineman. He came from Alabama. Once Saban left, transferred to Iowa, was enrolled and took, I don't even know if he took any classes at Iowa. Was there at Iowa, where he was from, then was there for 2-3 weeks, then transferred back to Alabama.
That's when Iowa needs to say, hey, you give us our money back now, or we're suing you. Because basically what the kid did was, basically the new Alabama coach said, hey, go to Iowa, take their money. so they don't have any money to pay anybody. Well, then you come back to Alabama, and we'll pay you money. So now you're getting two sets of money. That's crazy. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think Rob's right. I think contracts. I think it's coming.
More than likely.
It's coming.
You take this, you're staying. Like that.
Yep.
That's all there is to it. We own your playing rights in college.
You transfer into Iowa, you're signing a 2-year contract worth $600,000.
Yeah.
And you're here for 2 years. You're not going to Indiana. You're not going to Purdue. You're nowhere. You're here.
Oh, man.
I agree, Robert. That's coming. That'll be the next layer on
it. It's going to be, I agree. Let's jump to the NBA coverage here. We'll just kind of go from back and forth, the East and the West. We'll start out in the East. The number 1 seed will take on tomorrow's winner, Bulls in Atlanta. What's your thoughts here? Clean sweep for the Celtics, no matter who it is. Bulls are the Heat.
5 at most. 5 at most. 5 games.
Gentlemen sweep.
Yeah. Because the Celtics will get in one game late in the game, and they'll pee down their legs, so to speak. So
Scott knows that team way more than I do. He knows more basketball than I do. I'm going to go with him.
Yeah, I think the Celtics are by far the best team in the East, and me and Scott, we've had this discussion. If they don't make the NBA Finals,
history, by the way, I've been reading up on them. What a tremendous history they have. It's pretty awesome.
Who, the Celtics?
The Celtics, absolutely. Oh yeah. No doubt. Celtics, Lakers.
Answer before we get real. Rob wanted to know. Pop this question up here, Sam. Are college teams going to start affiliation with certain? I don't see that happening, Rob, because it's state. Like those are state. You know, the coaches and things are paid by the state, so I don't see that.
No, me neither.
Unless they break off from the NCAA, and that could happen where like the Big Ten, SEC, they're like we're no longer going to be affiliated with the NCAA. I could see that happening, and then maybe the affiliation with certain NFL teams. I could see maybe.
Plus, that's really hard because. What do we know about Alabama? And they get the best athletes possible. So if Alabama is hooked up with the Chiefs, affiliated with the Chiefs, then the Chiefs get all those players that graduate, and the draft is dead.
That would kill the draft. And the NFL loves the draft. There's too much money in the draft.
Yeah,
draft.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
We'll go to the West. Oklahoma City is going to take on the Kings. Sam, who you? Oh, I like. By the way, I like the Celtics. I'm going to say the Celtics. I'll say generally, it's hard for me to get a sweep, but that might be the one that does. It's done in 4 games. But I think if it's the Bulls, I think the Bulls could get one. Mm-hmm. But Sam, okay, tomorrow night, Sacramento or the Pelicans.
Sacramento or the Pelicans. I'm going to say. Well, geez, Sacramento hasn't been.
The winner of that game is going to play the Thunder, and that's what I need to know, Sam.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that. Okay. Well, Zion's probably not playing, right? We talked about that, right?
Yeah, he's out. He's out.
Sure.
Okay.
He's out.
Then I'll go Sacramento.
Okay, and then who you got in Oklahoma, Sacramento?
I don't know. You really talked well about Oklahoma before we started, so I'm gonna say
they're the number 1 seed, Sam.
Yeah. Okay. Give me. Yeah, I see they're the number 1 seed. Give me Oklahoma. I want to see the young guys do it. I think it'll be exciting.
How many games? Best of 7 here.
Young, first one there. I think they shocked people. Let's go 4.
Sweet. Okay. All right. Scott.
Wow. I think
it's like the NCAA basketball tournament, right? I'm just going to bludgeon my way through it. Why not?
It's all right, Sam.
I think it's OKC Sacramento because of the Zion injury, and I think the series goes 6. I think Sacramento can win a couple games in this series.
By the way, the fact that Zion made like 40 points and it didn't matter, it just that's got to hurt your feelings if you're a Pelican fan.
Wrong. Had he not got hurt in the last 3 minutes, they might have been able to beat the Lakers.
They probably could have, yeah.
I agree. Yeah. They're in a much better situation. It would have been in a much better situation if Zion was healthy and they lost to the Lakers, because I almost would rather see OKC in the fourth round than Denver, to be honest with you. So,
oh yeah, me too. I don't want nothing to do with the champs. I'm right there with you though, Scott. I think the Kings can win tomorrow night, and then I think they can pull some of that experience from last year's playoffs. This Thunder team has not been there. They're still young. While good, they're really young. I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna say the Thunder in 6. I just think I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7. And then it's a toss-up. But I'm gonna lean towards no Malik. I don't know how long Malik Monk's out, so that could end up hurting for the Kings for a while.
Yeah,
he's done.
He's not coming. Yeah, he's not coming back. As far as I know, he's not coming back. He's done.
All right. Well, I'm going to lead towards I'll say Thunder's. Thoughts on Shannon Sharp calling OKC the worst number 1 seed in years? He might be right. I don't know if they're that bad. I just think if you rank them up to what the past few number 1 seeds were, they're just young and they're unknown. I think that's the problem. They're so young.
We have thoughts. We have thoughts. In my experience, Shannon Sharp doesn't really have thoughts. He just spews it all out everywhere.
Yeah, but the other thing is regular season basketball for a lot of these teams become preseason basketball.
Right.
They're just getting ready for the playoffs.
It was one of the first thing I learned. It was one of the first thing I learned right after what you and Nick told me, Scott. The Western Conference is where it's at. You know,
look at the way the playoffs are going right now. It definitely is where it's at. The East is not going to be very good this year. I don't think so.
I don't know if they're the worst. I think the Hawks a couple years ago were a number 1 seed. Very good. I mean, especially in the East, they've had some bad number 1 seeds.
Yeah.
So, but I just think that Shannon is saying that because he doesn't watch them young and they're unknown. That's the thing about the Thunders, that they're young, they're unexperienced and unknown. So they're probably more acceptable to in the early first or second rounds.
Yeah, plus that, I think everybody's saying Denver's going to win the West. So everybody in the West is not good compared to Denver, so to speak. So
joking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, I'm learning, guys.
We'll go back to the East. We'll go back to the East. The number 2 New York Knicks taking on the 76ers.
We need to get Johnny to write in. He's our Knicks fan, as you keep saying.
Yeah. Mr. New York, our guy in Mr. New York Nick, Johnny Cruz is gone.
I think the Knicks are the underappreciated team in the East this year. I think the Knicks are going to win the series in 6 games. Jalen Brunson is phenomenal. He is. So I think the Knicks can win the series in 6. I don't think it's going to go 5. I think Philly can get a couple games here. With Embiid back, that gives Philly a little bit more of a presence. But I still think the Knicks are going to win the series in 6. So,
Sam?
As I currently look over this, I'll go with Scott. I'm just looking at numbers. I'm going to go with Scott. I think Knicks in 6 makes a little more sense. Yeah.
The thing I've been going back and forth on this series. The thing that Philly needs to play slow because Embiid's out of now. And if he was fully healthy, I would favor the Knicks by the Sixers in this series, just due to Randall being out in the inside game. But the Knicks play slow as well. So the 76ers, I think they were saying that they are the in the NBA for the most part, like just the old school basketball. I love Tom Thibodeau, the Knicks coach. I think this goes 7. And I'm going to favor the Knicks at home in Game 7. Jalen Brunson has but Jalen Brunson, you're right, Scott, is an absolute dude. I just wish they had Julius Randle. I think if they had Randle, they would give your Celtics a series.
They would.
Conference finals, but they don't have Randle, we know. But with that being said, I'd like them to get past the first round. I like over the 76ers. But I won't be surprised if the 76ers get it done.
By the way, Nick, you should feel pretty accomplished. That was almost word for word in this Athletic article. Embiid is slowed. Like I was like, wow, that's impressive.
There's 2 series where game 1 is ultra important. The Knicks Sixers series is 1. If the Sixers can beat the Knicks, then I'm going to say it goes 7, because the Sixers will have home court advantage back again. And I think it means a lot to the Sixers. So,
yeah. Nick Nurse. I like Nick Nurse as a coach too. His first,
I do too. I absolutely.
Embiid wouldn't be where they're at. They would probably be the 2. They'd probably be 2. You know what I mean? They would be the 2 seed, maybe the 3 seed. Had Embiid not got hurt. We'll go to the rematch of the Western Conference 1 year. In the first round, Lakers taking on the number 2 seed, the Nuggets. Sam, can the Nuggets swept them last year? They're going to do it again.
I think they're going to sweep them again this year. Jokic, not only can he just score seemingly at will, especially if he gets in the paint. Look at terminology. See that? That's reading. But the scary thing about him is how quick his passes are. And I actually watched him on YouTube. He can, if they start to squeeze him, he can get that ball out so quickly to somebody on the perimeter or anything else. I just don't think there's what's the Queen song, right? There's "Don't Stop Me Now," because I don't think they're going to be stopped.
Scott,
if the Lakers don't get game 1, it's a 4-game sweep. If they get game 1, it's a 5-game series. The Nuggets are much, much better. Lakers can't win in Denver. They just can't win in Denver. So I think it's going 4. I think the Nuggets are going to sweep them.
I'm going to give LeBron 1 game. And maybe just, again, I saw LeBron live with my own 2 eyes, so I'm still impressed.
He's still fangirling over there. He's like, wow.
The Nuggets are so good. Jamal Murray. Anthony Davis has no answer. Nikola Jokic. I like the Nuggets. I'm going to say that's just being nice. The Lakers are going to have to do something because I don't see them beating the Nuggets. That's off for them, I felt like, to get the Nuggets in the first round.
Okay, hold Jokic down. Then you got Murray. Okay, you hold Murray down, then you got Aaron Gordon. You hold him down, you got a couple other guys.
Or Porter.
Porter. So,
Michael Porter,
to me, the Lakers are in serious trouble here. In serious trouble to get swept. So,
yeah, I agreed. We'll go at the 3 seed, the Milwaukee Bucks taking on Sam. A lot of people, Scott, are taking the Pacers in this series. What's your thoughts? It looks like for sure game 1, possibly game 2.
Give me hope, Scott. Give me hope. Come on, man.
Sorry, Sam.
No, Scott, don't do it. Don't do it, Scott.
I'm taking the Pacers. I'm taking the Pacers. I think the combination of Giannis being out the first game or 2, or, who knows with the calf, how it's going to respond to treatment or whatever. And Doc Rivers is the head coach who in the recent few years has struggled to get his teams to win series. I just think there's something in Milwaukee that's missing. I don't know if it's the Dame Lillard Giannis connection. I don't know if it's the defensive end. I don't know what it is. Indiana's going to steal game 1 for sure. And I think they could easily go back to Indiana up 2-0 over Milwaukee. I just think this is short. I just think this is a 5 or 6 game series. I think Indiana can win. Milwaukee doesn't have any answers to them defensively. Indiana can put points up by the boatload. So I'm going to say
they give
Indiana
up a lot of points too.
Yeah, they do.
I'm
going to say Indiana in 6. I think it goes 6. So,
Sam?
The Pacers are an interesting team. It's not very much about defense. It's just score as much as you can. But that's what you're going to go for. But I know for a fact that watching basketball this year and looking at it, that these 2 teams do not like each other. They are chippy. They got chippy twice on the court. Chippy is a fun word to say. But I'm going to put it at 6 just for that. I think the Pacers ultimately win, but I think there's going to be a couple of. I think Milwaukee's going to play a little harder because they don't like each other. Not really anything Doc Rivers is doing.
Doc
So
Rivers
you
just
got
added
Milwaukee?
incentive to that.
No, I
Is that what you
got the
said,
Pacers.
Sam?
No, I got the Pacers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
no,
got.
can't-
I think the
that's my
Milwaukee.
team, bro.
I think
That's my team.
Giannis comes back and saves the day. I like the Bucks and 7. The Bucks and 7.
Boo.
Give it to me.
No.
We'll get to the other 3-6 matchup in Minnesota, the 3 seed, taking on Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns. Sam, who you like in this one?
This is one. How has Minnesota done this year? I know Kevin Durant is an extremely good player, but he's also a sterling.
Minnesota finished third in the tougher conference. Came back from finishing first. They were first most of the year.
They're Timberwolves, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. They got the next guy to me, and Anthony Edwards is. I mean,
They
legit.
do.
Okay.
He's a dog. He's a dog.
Then I will give me Timberwolves in 5. I'll go that route.
All right. Oh, okay.
Scott,
just crashing right through, baby. Here we go.
There's something with Phoenix I just don't like. There's been something all year with them that just
lost their hockey team.
Has not clicked. They put this super team together, supposedly traded for Beal, have Devin Booker, have Kevin Durant. But for all year long, there's just been something that's been amiss with them. I think Phoenix could get 2 games in this series. I just think Minnesota is a young, hungry, up-and-coming team. And I don't think Phoenix has anything to deal with Anthony Edwards, to be honest with you. So I think Minnesota's going to win in 6.
I'm actually got my first upset here. Minnesota's young, and I think they don't have quite the much like the Kings last year. They don't have yet. They're going to get some of that experience, and I like Phoenix to get it done in 7 games. I think Kevin Durant comes up big, even though on the road. Give me Suns. I know they're not the deeper team, but I think you can lean on your superstars and playoffs, and that's where it's about in the NBA. Deeper teams make it, do well in the regular. Better teams do great in the postseason. With the, so give me the Suns and. We got the. Go ahead, Sam.
Are the Timberwolves? Are they just like a good young team, or are they just kind of established?
Yeah, if they win the series, they're not going to beat Denver in the second round. Okay. They just won't do it. So they're a year or 2 away from being a team that can make a deep run in the playoffs.
Okay, dokie.
Yeah, they got two really good. They got one, Anthony Edwards, who's still really young. Karl Anthony Towns is really, really good. A good, decent, you know what I mean? Decent defensive player, but he's not a great offensive player. And they got some good role players. But yeah.
If Karl Anthony Towns was playing, I'd give Minnesota a great shot to compete or beat Denver. Without him,
is he out? Big Cat's out.
I think he's not playing. I think he's done. He was done for the year when he went out. So if he is,
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. So they could beat Phoenix without him, but they can't beat Denver without him. And that'll be the second round matchup if Minnesota wins.
I feel even more about the.
It's a toss-up series. It's a toss-up series with Minnesota Phoenix. Could go either way.
We'll go to the last 2 matchups here, and that's the 4-5 matchups. In the East, we got Cleveland, the 4 seed, taking on Orlando, the 5th seed. Scott, who you like?
I love Orlando in this. I don't have any faith Cleveland can be consistently good in this series. Orlando's young. I get it. I understand it. But Cleveland we've seen it over the last 2 playoff years. They just have not brought any consistency to the table. They laid an egg against Orlando in the season finale. And to me, that's going to carry over. I like Orlando a lot. I think Orlando wins the series. I'm going to say 7. I'm going to say go 7.
Sam?
Who is Orlando playing again? I'm sorry.
Cleveland.
Cavs.
Cleveland? Nah, I think Cleveland. No, Orlando. I think they take it in 6, though. I think they're just one less.
Like the Magic too, Scott. Really, I mean, they were only separated in 1 game. Bancaro guy, Franz Wagner is a stud as well. Plus, you got Jalen Suggs, sort of a college. Carter Jr. is a nice center for them. So yeah, I'm gonna go here over the Cavs. Then we got the final round. We got the 4-5 matchup. The Clippers. Scott, who you like?
I don't like the Clippers. I just don't like them. Here it is. Here's my deal. It's all about Kawhi. If Kawhi is 100% healthy, which we all know he's not, the Clippers could win the West. He's not healthy. I give they've shown they went to Phoenix and basically laid an egg in one of those games. Then they come back against Phoenix the next game and destroy them. So to me, it's all about Kawhi. He's not healthy. The Clippers are a totally different team without him. They're gonna lose in six games in the series. It's all about the Clippers in the series, to me, and what they do and what they don't do. So Clippers lose in 6.
Yeah, got the you got the Mavs in 6.
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
Mavs in 6. Yep. This is Luka's year, number 1 to make a deep run.
Kawhi. So I'm just Kawhi still has inflammation in his surgically repaired right knee, and his status for questionable is game 1. LA Clippers, Lawrence Frank, LA Clippers president of basketball operations, said Leonard is yet to go through contact before Thursday's practice. Frank said Leonard's right knee, which has undergone surgeries to repair torn ACL, meniscus, and is structurally solid intact, but the Clippers franchise star is experiencing soon some very, very stubborn inflammation, which means that's what happened to him last year. It's probably what's going to happen to him again this year. Sam?
I remember before we go to Sam, I remember a couple of years ago they said, Kawhi's only going to miss 1 game, and he didn't play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think it was last year. That might have been last year. I think.
Last year? It could have been last year. Yeah. So Dallas in 6.
Sam?
I'm gonna go with Scott. I'm gonna go with the funny dancing Luka man and go with Dallas in 6. By the way, I looked this up because I'm trying to get better at knowing basketball. And what pops up on YouTube? Wow, Luka's craziest dances after scoring. And I'm like, the hell is this? What is wrong with the Europeans? Anyway, but with obviously a great player. But am I reading correctly that there's a lot of pressure on him this year to get it done?
There's pressure on him every year.
Okay. He's the team, right? He's the team.
Yeah.
Right?
He is. Him and Kyrie.
Okay.
If he's injured or he isn't playing up to his optimum level, the Mavericks struggle.
Okay.
If he's playing the way that he's capable of playing, the Mavericks can win the West. They can pose a problem.
Scott, Karl Anthony Towns is playing. He's back. He came back last week.
Oh, he's back. Okay, he's back. So how effective is he going to be? That's the next question. Is he going to be fine for the playoffs, or is he going to be?
He's only played 2 games.
Yeah.
Last week he returned last Friday.
I think this series might not be as big of a problem for Karl Anthony Towns as the Denver series would be if they get that far.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Thank you. We're learning.
I had to look it up because I thought I had heard he came back, but I wasn't too sure. So I was just wondering.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. I was just I thought he was done for the year, but maybe it wasn't as serious as they had.
I thought he was too. At one time, they said they thought he was, and they thought at least the regular season, but he had come back at least for 2 games. Sam,
Okay.
Who did you like in the Memphis game? I mean, not Memphis, but Dallas series.
Oh, Dallas. I'm with Scott. I'm sorry. I'm with Scott.
Okay. No, you're good. That's on me even, I think. I'm right there with you guys. We know Kawhi. That's going to hurt Dallas. I think Dallas is the last month of the season. Dallas might be been playing the best basketball of the year. So give me the Mavs with Luka and Kyrie to finish it out. I don't want to go through our next round, but Scott, give me your Western Conference Finals matchup.
Dallas, Denver in the Western Conference Finals.
Who wins?
I'm going to say Denver in 7.
Sam, your Western Conference Finals.
Oh, man. I'll go Denver in 6.
Against
I'm sorry?
Against who?
Against who?
Oh, golly. I thought, okay.
It would be
OKC
or who?
Dallas.
I'm gonna ride with OKC. I like a bunch of young players over Dallas having to be carried by one player, the dancing guy. I can't remember his name all of a sudden.
Okay.
Luka. Thank you,
Luka.
I wanted to say Jokic, but that's Denver.
Me too. I'm right there with you, Scott. I got in the Western Conference Finals, and I got Denver winning finals, and I'm gonna say in 6 games. So give me that Denver Nuggets. Scott, we'll go back to you. Your Eastern Conference Final.
Oh boy,
Boston and the Knicks, I think, and I would pick the Celtics to win in 6.
Sam,
from what I know about the Knicks is they constantly disappoint their fans over and over in the big crucial moments. So I'm gonna go Celtics. Just like, by the way, this is a sidebar. Like, we're talking Wikipedia right here of the Knicks. It's just over and over and over and over again. So
I would say this: if Indiana and the Knicks match up in the second round, I think it's a 7-game series. I really do.
Oh boy, that's gonna be nerve-wracking.
Yep. No.
who you got? You got Boston, Sam?
Yeah, I'll take Boston. I'm
going to go Milwaukee and Boston, and I got Boston in 6.
You love you some Giannis, don't you? I just love it.
Boston in 6. Scott, we got this.
Can I just correct Alan on something? Magic Celtics cannot play in the Eastern Conference Finals. They could play in the semifinals. Sorry, Alan, that's not happening. So
yeah, because the 5 seed would advance and they would play the 1 seed.
Yep.
So
yep.
I found it so funny that it's just here on the sidebar of the Knicks.
Although, does the NBA reseed after each round?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I want to say that maybe they do. So maybe I don't know. I don't think so. I'll have to do a little check.
I don't think they reseed. I think it's like a bracket. I think it's a bracket.
Yeah,
that's
that's right. I want to say maybe the NHL reseeds them.
I think it's like a bracket. They don't reseed. You just play who you play. Like where the
that's
fly.
true. That is true. I didn't think of that.
Okay.
So our NBA finals, I think we all have Boston, Denver in the finals.
Yeah.
right?
Yep. I'm going to take Denver.
Oh man,
They played twice. Denver's won both games, close games. I just don't think the Celtics have anybody to stop Jokic, and I think that's going to be the difference in the finals. So I'll pick Denver over Boston, even though I don't like it, but I think that's the way it's going. So,
Sam?
I'm going to take Denver in 5. That's what I'm going to do. I think they just take care of business. Watching everything about Jokic and all of this stuff, I just think he is, boy.
He's the best player on the planet right now.
Yeah, I don't think there's any stopping.
Yeah,
and I was sitting here looking at stuff about Steph Curry and how amazing he was and everything like that is to some degree. But boy, watching Jokic play, for somebody that doesn't know a lot about basketball, that guy's a player, is what he is.
He is. He's the best. Like Scott said, you arguably the best player in the NBA, player on the planet.
He just looks so fluid.
With you.
So fluid.
Yeah, whether you want to go the Drizzy route and back to back, or you can go the Bruce Buffer and still NBA champions, the Denver Nuggets. I like the Nuggets in 6. Thanks, boys. Let's go ahead. We'll jump into our NBA 10 greatest players of all time list. Sam, we'll start with you, my friend.
I don't want to.
Here we go.
Do I have to?
Number 10.
Go ahead.
Don't do. I just wrote Jokic 10 times in a row.
Sam saw 30-second clip of Jokic, said that's the greatest player I ever saw in my life.
That's amazing. I just started watching basketball. This guy's awesome.
Jokic, Luka, Jokic. That's what Sam's list is.
How I love the little roses and X's and O's. Number 10, I have this guy who, with my very limited basketball knowledge, one of the first times I actually paid attention to the finals was Tim Duncan. Very quiet, handled his business. Kind of reminded me of Barry Sanders with the Lions. Just handled his business. Now, the best nicknames I see here is the fundamental, which I think is
the big fundamental.
Funny.
Yep.
That's right. The big fundamental. And the other nickname is the rolling tire that's on fire.
I never heard that one.
The team played so slow that it was like watching a tire burning and slowly making its way down the driveway.
I never heard that one. I heard the big fundamentals. What our Timmy is, on SportsCenter, what they'd always say.
Yep.
But talk about a guy handled his business
way too low for. Yeah, way too low. I love Tim Duncan, and so he's higher on my list, but. Good starting point. I love Tim Duncan, so I will get to when I'll talk more about him when he is on my list. Scott, you're number 10.
Bank shots, baby.
So I have 2 guys on my number 10, Julius Erving and Kevin McHale. And Julius Erving for the Philadelphia 76ers, he was it for a long time for Philadelphia. They didn't have much else with him. He's one of the most underappreciated guys in the NBA, for my taste, bar none. Kevin McHale was the best low post player for years in the NBA. Nobody could stop him once that ball went in to the low post. So, and he was one of the main reasons why the Celtics were as successful as they were in the mid '80s, early to mid '80s. Along with another guy, which is coming soon on my list. So, I put Dr. J and Kevin McHale as my code number 10s.
Again, I want to preference my list as always people I have seen. So I cannot speak to the Wilt Chamberlains, the Bill Russells, Barry West, all those guys. I always like to preference people I've seen with my own 2 eyes or 4 eyes. I always like to preference that when I make these lists again. So my number 10 guy in my close to 40 years of life is Kevin Durant, two-time NBA champion, two-time NBA Finals champion, MVP, 14-time NBA All-Star, MVP, six-time All-NBA first team. Kevin the Durantula Durant, or any other crazy nicknames you want to give him.
Yeah, Sam, that is one of his nicknames.
The
Durantula.
My favorite. Huh? Yeah, the
No, I said,
Durantula,
Sam,
the
that is
Slim
one of his
Reaper.
nicknames.
Yeah.
So.
Scott, we'll go to you. Number
9, if anybody doesn't know, LeBron broke this guy's scoring record. It's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Nobody mentions him as one of the greatest players in NBA history.
He should be.
He should be one of the top 10 for sure. He got drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks. He played as Lou Alcindor for a long time. So maybe that's why he doesn't get as appreciated as he does. And then he went to the Lakers.
He's the
And wherever,
player all time too, Scott.
yeah. I mean, he played for John
Lou
Wooden at UCLA. Yep, played for John Wooden at UCLA. Great pedigree in terms of basketball. He came to the Lakers, and he helped Magic Johnson win more titles and be successful out west. So Kareem's my number 9. He could be higher, but there's just so many guys that are better than him. But
the captain,
captain 30. What do you have? 30,000 over 30,000 points before LeBron broke it. So
yeah. Sam, you're number 9.
Number 9, I have Kevin Durant, the Durantula, at number 9.
You didn't even know that nickname before Nick said
I know.
Did you?
I know. No, I sure didn't. But the accolades that Nick went through, I agree. They're impressive or whatnot. Even though he is kind of odd on social media, I agree that he's up there. The turncoat, as Alan called him, still in his feelings. I see ever since he left OKC. So,
he's not a turncoat. OKC got rid of him. He's not a turncoat.
Okay.
Is it because he went to a team to win some titles? He's not a turncoat. OKC couldn't afford him anymore. They had to let him go.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I'm with you.
All right, you got number 9.
The list of accolades is amazing.
Is none other than the greatest. It may not be too much longer, and Jokic will pass him as this, but the greatest European player of all time, and that's Dirk Nowitzki. Alan, why are you copying up? Dirk's NBA championship run in 2011 might have been the best NBA championship run and the hardest championship run player of all time. NBA Finals MVP, 14-time NBA All-Star, 4-time NBA team. He was also part of the 50-40-90 club in 2007, where he scored 40 points, 30 rebounds, or whatever. Dirk Nowitzki is number 9 for me. Sam, we'll go to you. Number 8.
Number 8 is Dirk Nowitzki. No joke. Did you know he never missed a free throw? Did you know that? Like in the playoffs, he didn't miss a free throw.
I was going to say he missed season. Okay, playoffs. Okay.
Yeah, the playoffs.
No, I didn't know that, Sam.
Yeah, no, it took Mavericks there or what. I'm just reading it off. But you said that, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. Dirk is a great player. German, right? Yeah?
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it took the Mavericks, everything, and I remember him, and I remember, the guy that they always make fun of with the big collar. I can never remember his name. Shoot, that bothers me. Anyway, he coached the Brooklyn Nets for a little while. You know who I'm talking
Jason
about.
Kidd.
Jason Kidd. Yeah, thank you. They put on a show there to get that championship, and I remembered that because I was over at my friend's house pretending that I was really into basketball.
Good friend, Sam. Scott, who's your number 9? Or number 8, sorry.
My number 8, Shaquille O'Neal. Came out of LSU to the Orlando Magic. That's when they started to get good because they had Penny Hardaway, Chris Webber. They drafted Chris Webber. They had Nick Anderson. They had a bunch of those guys. Championships just followed this guy around. He went from Orlando to the Lakers and won more titles with Kobe. Probably one of the most unstoppable forces in the NBA for, I'd say, 5 years.
I got him higher on my list, but
I was
name me
wanting
somebody
to put him higher.
name me somebody. He's the most, there's LeBron. You can make a case, MJ, LeBron, Kobe for the greatest players of all time. Shaq is the most dominant player of all time. There's no stop. There was no stopping him.
No doubt.
No stop.
And he came to Boston when his career was just winding down and almost over.
Yeah.
And I wish he had come to Boston like 3 or 4 years earlier, because you would have seen the Shaq that they saw in LA to a degree. So Shaq's my number 8. He could be higher, but there's just so many guys that you could put.
Yeah, it's all preference. Like I said, I got him a little higher on my list. My number 8 guy is your guy, Scott. Larry Legend, the hick from French Lick, Mr. Larry Bird. Caught the tail. I'm old enough to catch the very tail end of Larry's career. But man, if you want to go down a rabbit hole, I love watching not just highlights of Larry, but people's stories of Larry. Like that, you could people talking about Larry's stories are absolutely incredible. And every black dude, that's a cold white. Larry got something in him. Just all the stories. Oh, you put a white boy on me? That's disrespectful.
That's right.
Shot one game, went onto the court and said, "I don't even need to use my right hand," and proceeded to shoot the whole game left. He's like, "I gotta save my right hand. We got a better team than that." Just the stories that Larry had is just incredible. Love Larry. So Larry Legend, for perspective, 3-time NBA champion, 2-time NBA Finals MVP, 3 player, 12-time NBA All-Star, obviously in the Hall of Fame, one of the greatest players of all time. And his career probably could have went a little longer had the back. The problem with his back, he was laying concrete for his damn parents, fucked up his back and shorted his career a little. He could have paid somebody, said he did it.
Yeah, I'll get to him in a little while. I got him higher on my list, but
he's higher on mine too.
Yeah.
The one
it's
thing.
Okay. I'm okay. You want it? And I'm okay if somebody says Larry's higher than 7. I can't really his preference,
right?
And so just like Shaq,
list,
right? Like you got Shaq at 7. I'm like, I got him higher.
Yeah, I saw him.
Yeah. You saw Larry's whole career, Scott.
Yeah, I did. So
yeah,
I got him.
And that's your town, your city. So like Stoney and Larry Bird's probably the greatest freaking basketball player of all time. You know what I mean? Like you got to have him up there. So I understand. It's respect.
Second best in Boston.
I don't know who they were playing. It might have been Detroit, but there was footage of him. I think the Celtics had stunk it up, and then they came alive late. And Larry was just putting up point after point. And there was a shot that he made where he was jumping and he was going out of bounds and he shot it and it went in. I was like, this is just undefendable. What are you supposed to
do? There were two that come to mind. Portland was one. Philadelphia was the other. No, those two were
exactly. I think Portland's where he shot all left-handed, I believe. Scott, who's your
my 7 is Tim Duncan. And if you watch basketball in the 90s, David Robinson started the Spurs on their path to their dynasty, and Tim Duncan picked up the mantelpiece and ran with it. Big fundamental.
Almost your Celtics, it's crazy. They would have drafted him, but David Robinson got hurt, and the Spurs were awful that year. So they had and then the Celtics tanked, and Rick Pitino was praying that they would get Tim Duncan. I think they had two of the top 3 picks or something. The Celtics did, and they didn't get Tim Duncan, and they had to get Ron Mercer and Chauncey Billups, I believe.
I think that. Yeah, I think you're right. So
if my memory serves me correct,
Tim Duncan in Boston would not have been as great as Tim Duncan in San Antonio was. specifically because Greg Popovich was the coach. And he knew how to use guys. Where Rick Pitino, yeah, he's a great college coach. Yeah, he is a really, really good coach. I don't think he would have used Tim Duncan to the capabilities that he could have. So Tim Duncan landing in San Antonio was a great move.
Here's another insight. Duncan almost went to the Magic. He was going to team up with Grant Hill and Tracy McGrady.
I remember that.
He went on a visit. They thought the contract was damn near signed to Orlando. Orlando would not let Tim Duncan's plane. And that was big for Tim. He wanted his wife or somebody to be able to fly on the either the team plane, I believe. And Orlando's like, no, we don't allow that. And San Antonio's like, well, yeah, you can. You've been having your family fly, like whatever. That's fine. And the rest is history.
He went to Popovich and said, if you allow my wife to come on the plane, I'll sign with you right now.
Wow.
And the money didn't it didn't matter about the money. He didn't care about the money. He just wanted
Orlando said no deal. No guys. Yeah.
Orlando said no to the wife.
Strange thing to put your foot down on.
Yeah. You could have had Shaquille O'Neal, Tim Duncan, Penny Hardaway, Chris Webber, Nick Anderson.
Already left at that time. He already was in. O'Neal had already left. They would have had Grant Hill.
Yeah. He was Shaq's
and Tracy McGrady.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Tim Duncan. Like, that would have been insane.
And NBA titles in Orlando galore in that time if Tim Duncan was there. So
yeah. Sam, who's your number 7?
Number 7, I have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 38,387 points, right until LeBron broke it. Just absolutely amazing. Yeah. I don't think there's much less to say. This guy, for 20 years, wreaked havoc. I think it's 20 years anyway. I don't want to count it. Anyway, but just dominant player, the sky hook, everything about it. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for me is my number 7. Yep. He was great in Airplane too. He also fought Bruce Lee in that movie. So
he never had one sky hook blocked in his career. Never.
Not once?
Never saw
it. Unblocked.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Did fight Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon.
That's right. No, Game of Death. Game of Death is what he fought.
My number 7 is Irvin Magic Johnson Jr.
Yeah, buddy.
I mean, what's there to say about Magic? 5
Lakers
champion, 3-time NBA Finals MVP, 3 times MVP, 12-time NBA All-Star, 9-time All-NBA First Team. Magic was one of one. Me and my dad would literally get in almost fist fights on who was better, Magic or MJ. His argument to me was always Magic play all 5 positions. So he was LeBron James before LeBron James, Scott.
Yeah, he was. I mean, these guys that say LeBron is the only player of his kind, they don't go back to the 60s, 70s.
He was the point forward before the point forward. You know what I mean?
He was.
Magic was the point forward before the point forward.
Absolutely.
Positionless, right?
Sam will go. Yeah. Sam, we'll go to you. Who's your number 6?
I don't know if this is going to make me look stupid or not, but I do remember this player. And guys, we're talking about practice here. We're talking about practice. Allen Iverson for me, man.
Oh, God.
I don't know if it makes you look stupid, Sam, or just I do like Allen Iverson. I mean, for pound, he might have been the best basketball player of all time, pound for pound.
11 NBA All-Stars, 2 times NBA Star Game MVP, All NBA First Team, 99, 2001, 2005, All NBA Second Team, All NBA Third Team, NBA Rookie of the Year. I love this guy. I think he's great. I guess I put him in the wrong list since I'm getting this mixed reaction.
No, that's not the thing. I think when you put him in a list like this, if it's the Larry Brown led 76ers, yes. Okay. He didn't play as well without Larry Brown there.
Somebody had to coach him hard, coach him up, coach him hard.
Yeah, Larry Brown knew how to get to him in ways that no other coach knew how to get to him.
And you could say to me at all, all time, he absolutely played with nobody. I mean, he played with Chris Webber at the very end of his career.
Exactly.
No, any sort of help in Philadelphia.
Exactly.
And he carried that team to the finals, so.
But for not having anybody around him, he was really good.
Yeah.
My bad, y'all.
I know this may be a little bit down on the list, and I'm sure he's high.
I don't know if you should beat mine. Apparently, I just laid a stinker.
Well, my number 6 is Kobe Bryant, and because of who I have ahead of him. I mean, I've seen, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, so I saw a lot of guys in that era that I have higher on the list that probably could be comparable to him. But Kobe's Kobe. I mean, 81 points against the Raptors, finished his career with 60 points. I think he played with a torn Achilles one game at the end, or torn ACL.
Made 2 free throws.
Yep, made 2 free throws.
Made 2 free throws on a torn Achilles. Yeah.
Won a lot of championships. He took the mantle from Magic Johnson as Mr. Laker and ran with it. I mean, nobody remembers this, the problems he had in Denver, Colorado that time with all that stuff that happened. And he just kept playing at a level that nobody could attain. And he expected, and if you ask Pau Gasol and all those guys, they'll tell you he expected players to play at a level that Kobe got to. And nobody could play at that level. So Kobe's my number 6.
I think, to me personally, way too low.
Yeah, I agree. It would be way too low, but the 5 guys ahead of him, I get it.
Yeah. My number 6 is none other than when you're the greatest at something of all time, you got to be on the list, and that's Steph Curry, the greatest shooter of all time. And on top of that, he's a 4-time NBA champion. Finals MVP, 2-time most valuable player, 10-time NBA All-Star, the greatest shooter of all time, the chef, Scott, we'll go to you. Who is your number 5 as we crack towards the top 5?
So 4 and 5 are combined together, and it's only because of where I live that number 5 and number 4 are the way they are. Number 5 is Magic Johnson for me. 1979, Michigan State, got drafted with Larry Bird, changed the game of basketball forever. Basketball was not what it was when those 2 guys came there. And the greatest thing about it, Magic West Coast, Larry East Coast. And that was the greatest thing for the NBA because they were separate conferences.
Not even that. Is white at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not to be, but it all concludes to all of it, really. The East, the West, the white kid, the country boy. You know what I mean? Like they were so polar opposites, but once in between those lines, like they were just different. You know what I mean? They were just that's when it, man, yeah. And Carlos is right. Saved. Changed the way the game, the pre-Magic and Larry, the NBA Finals were on pre-tape delay.
They weren't
even live.
They were. And what Magic did in the 1980 NBA Finals in Game 6 when Kareem couldn't play, he was the center, scored 40 points, pulled down a bunch of rebounds, assists, and everything else, handled the ball. Magic basically brought the Lakers to where, for 20 years, where anytime the NBA Finals happened, Lakers were in the West. They were the team that everybody shot for and tried to beat. And it was only because of Magic. Magic was the reason why the Lakers became who they are. He willed that franchise.
Yep. It's winning time.
And when he was at Michigan State, they won a title over Larry Bird in 1979 and Finals. So he had success wherever he was at any time. And the greatest moment of Magic's career, probably, I would say, was the NBA All-Star game in 93 when he got voted in. And it was the last NBA All-Star game he played after he revealed he had HIV. And everybody wanted him there. And he performed like only Magic could in those circumstances. So,
yeah. I'm you want to tell me that's number 4 and 5, Scott? I'm okay. I'm 1,001% good with that. Sam, who's your number 5?
I have Steph Curry here. definitely has to be one of the most prolific shooters, especially of we're still watching him now. He's just absolutely amazing. It's somebody as a new basketball fan. I looked up stuff like everything a new basketball fan should learn, and Steph Curry is one of the first things that popped up. Just stunningly. For that run they had before they went to poop, there were times where they're like, "Hey, we have to have a three." Okay, he'd get it. There was just it didn't matter what pressure was on.
He really kind of changed the game too in the last decade. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he changed the game, more spacing, everybody's shooting threes. Yeah, that was it
didn't matter
Steph
what
Curry.
pressure.
My number
was
5 guy. You guys had him lower, and maybe I'm just more sentimental. Basketball, that's who exactly I wanted to be, and that was the big fundamental Tim Duncan. Champion, the only person that has, Matt Jordan's got 6, but Timmy was right there. 3-time NBA Finals MVP, 2-time MVP, 15 NBA All-Star, 10-time All NBA First Team, 8 times NBA All Defensive First Team, NBA All Defensive Second Team. Tim Duncan, man, just absolutely a guy who is the big fundamental is my number 5. Scott, who is your number 4?
Larry Bird. As you said earlier. Oh, yeah. As you said earlier about him, I think he was the greatest trash talker of all time because he backed it up on the court. He told guys what he was going to do, and he did it. He went down to benches, walked down to benches, and said, "I'm getting the ball. I'm shooting with my left hand, and I'm going to make it." And he did it. He went down
the point contest when Larry didn't enter it, I think, one year, and the guy was like, "Larry knows where to find me." And he goes, "Yeah, at the end of the bench." And then at the end of the next year, Larry didn't even take his warm-up jacket off, Scott. He didn't even take his jacket off, shot in his jacket, and won the damn thing.
No, and here's the thing. He walked into the locker room in the first 3-point contest, and he said to the guys, "Who's finishing second?" He already told them he was winning. Who's finishing second? And then the greatest story that Magic Johnson told us, he wasn't playing against the Celtics one night. Larry walked down to the bench. Magic was sitting there. He said to Magic, "I'm going to put on a show for both of us. You watch." And he had like 46 points, 17 rebounds, 8 assists in that game. And he just went off. So Larry was the greatest trash talker in NBA history.
Maybe besides one other guy.
Yeah. But give me all those. Give me Rodman. Give me Isaiah. Give me Lambeer. Give me all those guys.
Lambeer for sure.
They're not the trash talker that Larry Bird was in his prime.
Well, not like they weren't the player Larry was either.
So no, they were not.
That also, yeah. Sam, who's your number
4? Yeah, Shaq. I have Shaquille O'Neal here. This guy. I mean, talking about me as a little kid watching this massive giant on my TV screen, just keep dunking it over and over, and so many times I saw the other team after he dunked it just do this at each other. Like, what are we supposed to do? The guy's he's just going to get in the paint and take it, just take us out. And he was amazing. Him and Kobe, all the things, right, all mixed together. He has to be one of the most dominant. His free throw shooting was awful, but man, it's Shaq for me, man.
Yeah, I'm right. That's who I have it for too. Is like I said earlier, Shaq to me is the most dominant player that ever played the game. 4-time NBA champion, 3-time NBA Finals champion, 15-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA, 3-time NBA All Defensive Second Team. I mean, the guy just every 2-time NBA scoring champion. I mean, he was that dude. Shaq, when he was in Orlando and he was skinny and shape, they're just nothing you could do about him. I mean, he was so good. So I got Sam. I feel like our top three are all going to be relatively well. Scott had Kobe low, so I wonder who is in his top three here. But I feel like splitting hairs. But we'll go to you, Sam. Number three.
Number three is Kobe Bryant. Like you're talking to a guy that just now really started diving into basketball. I know who Kobe was. I know who Black Mamba was. I know all the funny videos of guys yelling Kobe and doing ridiculous things and whatnot. And that all comes from that guy. And I got to tell you, that guy worked. He was a worker. And he had shades of somewhat Jordan, where Jordan's like, you're gonna get on my level and like it. And he was the same way. And Kobe Bryant, gone too soon.
Yep. Scott, you're number three.
So this is very difficult to pick between these two guys. I took LeBron at number three. I know a lot of people growing up in this day will say he's better than my number two, which is Michael Jordan. But I just think that, there's a number one that I personally, there's reasons why he's number one, but LeBron is just one of the greatest players of all time in NBA history. And you can't compare Michael and him together because one plays a different position, number one. Number two, I just think that Michael winning all those 6 championships, I don't think he lost in the NBA Finals. I think he won every time he went there.
6-0, never saw a game.
That resonates a lot in my mind when you go to a championship game and you don't lose championship round. So LeBron's my number three, one of the greatest players of all time. So no doubt about it. But my number one is just somebody different. So.
I said you're splitting hairs with the.
Yeah.
Jordan's always going to be my number one. Not to reveal the list early, but these are like it's just personal preference. You know what I mean? Not that I've come around.
Same here.
And LeBron is my number three. I mean, the guy's been doing it for over 20 years. First of all, let's just start there. 2003 came in the league. Like he's been doing it. That's the one guy Father Time ain't beat yet somehow, some way. But he's a 4-time NBA champion, time NBA final, 4-time MVP. In a couple of those years, they should have gave it to him anyway. They just didn't want to. For some reason, Wikipedia decided they got to put him in season tournament. I mean, Jesus Christ, what are we doing here? 20-time NBA All-Star. 20 times he's been the NBA All-Star.
Did you hear that, Tanner? We don't like your stupid tournament. You hear me? It sucks.
The only thing
13-time All NBA. And he's a scoring champion. He's done it all. You know what I mean? He does have the finals losing. I think that hurts him. But he made it there that many times. And a couple of times, a better team. You know what I mean? A couple times. But, I got LeBron at a smidge at 3. Scott, who's your number 2?
Michael Jordan. 6-0 in championship finals. Anytime you needed a big basket in a game, it was Michael that provided it for the Bulls. He was Mr. Bull. I don't care. Scottie Pippen was there. Tony Kukoc. It doesn't matter. He was Mr. Bull. He set a standard in the NBA in the 90s that people had to reach, and nobody could reach it. And Michael, to me, other than my number one, is the greatest player I've ever seen play in NBA history. So Michael's my number 2.
Sam, you're number 2.
Number 2 is where I have Larry Legend, Larry Bird, man. What can you say? I mean, you guys have brought up the shit talking, the stories, and everything like that. I can't get by it, man. The shots that I've seen him make, just entire things of YouTube footage of him just straight up just taking over. Yeah, Larry Bird's number 2 for me.
My number 2 is Kobe Bean Bryant, the Black Mamba. I mean, this guy was very similar to Michael Jeffrey Jordan in every aspect of the game.
Got the full name. Got the full name in there.
Yeah, 5-time NBA champion, 2 times NBA Finals MVP. This is only MVP 1 time. That's insane to me. 4-star game MVP, 11-time All NBA first team, NBA all defensive first team. So again, played both offensive and defensive. 2-time NBA scoring champion. As Scott alluded to, 82 points. The 60 points his last game out, Mamba out. Turn your Achilles, telling the trainer to we can, walk back onto the court and make 2 free throws is absolutely insane. The stories you hear about him, if you go on Netflix, there's a great documentary. It's called The Redeem Team, and they Kobe was in the gym first thing, and like they were all coming back from the club. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, and they're like, Kobe, where you going? I'm going to the gym. And then everybody started. And then the very first game they're playing Spain, and he absolutely just runs through his own teammate Pau Gasol because they wasn't teammates no more. He said, I know the first play they're going to run. Right, like a linebacker running through a running back, to tackle somebody, just ran right through Pau to set the tone. Weren't friends with him in between the lines. He, Allen Iverson tells a great story. He's like, what you going to do after the game? The gym to shoot around. What you doing? I'm going to the club. And there's lies the difference between Kobe Bryant and Allen Iverson, and why Kobe Bryant, you could say, top 2 or 3 greatest basketball player all time. So Kobe Bean is my number 2. Scott, I'm gonna go back to you because I'm curious to see who your number 1.
Yeah, I am too.
So up here in Boston, we've had great athletes for my lifetime.
TD Garden.
And right before my lifetime. My number 1 is Bill Russell. 11 NBA titles.
I'm okay with
5 MVPs.
I don't hate it.
8 NBA titles in a row. He was the guy that made the Celtics what they were. And then he coached for the Celtics because Red Auerbach asked him to coach, and he agreed to do it just for Red. And he won another title. He won another title or 2. There's an award named after him. There was a lot of racial overtones going on in the city of Boston and around the world. Bill Russell had a hand in calming that down in Boston and calming that down in several other places. So my number 1 is Bill Russell. 11 NBA championships. You can't top that. You just can't. So
I'm okay with it. I didn't ever see, like I said, I never saw Bill Russell play, but being where you're from, I'm okay with.
If Bill Russell didn't do
probably number 1's my number 1. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Michael Jordan, man. I mean, come on. What can be said? I cannot remember. It might have been Kobe or somebody. I cannot remember who said this, but I remember watching the footage. They're like, LeBron James, generational talent, amazing man. But I've seen a man fly, and that man was Michael Jordan. And I 100% agree. That I've remember as a kid who didn't know anything about basketball, but if a Bulls game was on, I was going to watch it. I was going to watch it just to watch him dominate. The flu game, I mean, come on. This is just absolutely stunning. And the way that he elevated everybody around him. We talk about great players elevate those around them. Tom Brady elevated a bunch of wide receivers that go on another team and they couldn't do anything. He elevated that Bulls team. And he elevated them to heights that are very rarely seen or seen at all. Michael Jordan is my number 1.
Yeah. Michael Jordan's my number 1 too. And 6-time NBA Finals MVP, 6-time NBA champion, 5-time NBA MVP, 14-time NBA All-Star, 1 Defensive Player of the Year and MVP, like 9 All NBA first team. And we talk, Scott, we talked about Larry being I think I would credit Michael Jordan being just a slid bit better, you know what I mean? Michael would take something that you said so small and just that's all he needed. Like I think there was George Karl walked into a restaurant and didn't acknowledge Michael Jordan. That's all Michael needed. You didn't come by and say hi to me. Like just those great some stories he made up. I mean, go watch the Final Dance and the Last Dance, and there was a story about the Bullets kid where he had a huge game and said, great game, Mike. The guy never even said that. Mike just made the shit up and then went after the kid. So yeah, convince Phil Jackson bring Dennis Rodman into Chicago. Like, I mean, the stories that Michael did and still has, like, just incredible. He, Kevin Garnett tells a story about MJ. They're playing. It's like Kevin Garnett's rookie year, and J.R. Ryder's kind of playing good offense or defense on MJ. Get him, that's KG's like talking up J.R. Ryder, like that's like this, and then JR like MJ hurt. He's like don't. And then he pissed MJ off by talking shit. And then J.R. Ryder didn't score nothing the rest of the game. And Mike went for like 22. Just crazy shit like that. It's just insane. He just mentally would take something. Okay, fuck you. I'm going to show you. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, to me, is the greatest ball player of all time. That's bottom line. That's it. There's our NBA list, folks.
Who?
Just before we get out of here, let's get any final thoughts. Sam, we'll start with you. Final thoughts before we get out of here tonight.
Final thoughts. It's fun to do this NBA thing that you guys do on a yearly basis. I'm having a good time. This top 10 list rattled me because you're kind of just looking at information, and it's like any top 10 list when you're trying to look up information about, especially about something you don't know about. It's highly contentious about who's here and who's here and who's here and who's here. It's as dumb as putting Allen Iverson on your list, I suppose. But I'm having a good time. You should always try, like, if you've always thought about trying to watch something or get into something, just give it a shot, while you still got the chance to do so. So I'm having a good time watching basketball, and I'm having a good time talking about it with you guys.
Scott, any final thoughts real quick?
So there's something I teased in the group chat this morning. The LTS show that we haven't got to yet that I'll get to in my final thoughts. The Denver Broncos at number 12. Do not be surprised if they trade back. And they do not draft a quarterback in the first. The reason being is, Sean Payton thinks that the Broncos have a lot of holes. He doesn't listen to what everybody says on draft, and he just does what he wants to do. So I think that Denver feels like they could get a quarterback later in the draft, and I would not be surprised if they trade back so they can get more assets in the draft because of all the holes they have on the defensive line, the offensive line, and the secondary. So watch that next Thursday.
Spencer Rattler maybe in the second or third round. Spencer
it's
Rattler.
Very possible. Yep. Don't forget.
Hopefully it's been in football.
Don't forget, Sean Payton's success was with Drew Brees. So he feels like that he can get a quarterback later in the draft, Spencer Rattler, Michael Pratt, a guy like that, and he can develop him. I don't think Jarrett Stidham's going to be the quarterback for Denver this season, but he might be. So just keep that in mind.
Carlos says his hot take is Cowboys trade CeeDee Lamb.
I don't think they'll trade CeeDee Lamb. I think they'll let Dak walk. I think that's what's going to happen. I think they'll.
Well, yeah, I think they take a quarterback this year, and then
I think they do too.
Yeah.
I think they allow Dak to walk out of the building after this coming year, because I don't think Jerry Jones feels like he can win a Super Bowl with Dak. So it's either got to be one or the other. It's going to be Dak gets paid and CD walks, or CD gets paid and Dak walks. And I would tend to think that CD is going to get paid and Dak going to be walking.
What a move!
The cock wrangler.
Yeah.
The cock.
So it's not. Listen, you hear a lot for the NFL draft. You will hear a lot this next week. But I'm just telling you, do not be surprised if Denver trades back and out of the first round.
Would you be saying that, Alan, if he was still in Oklahoma? Would you be saying that? Just saying.
True. Yeah, but so a lot of these teams, they don't need the stud quarterback. They need a guy that can manage the game. That's why you're hearing all this talk about J.J. McCarthy, because all coaches feel like is they need a quarterback that can manage the game. And as Nick's, favorite quarterback, Joe Burrow, until this last year or two, was on a rookie contract. And that's why Cincinnati was as successful as they were, because these quarterbacks are on rookie contracts and they get paid very little and they can build around them for 3, 4, 5 years. So
look at the Texans. Look at that. I mean, the Texans are finding.
They're going to have 3 years. That's why they could trade for Stephon Diggs, because C.J. Stroud makes next to nothing.
Next up on the LTS show, we figure out if Allen's a liar or not. Guys, what do you think?
It'll be interesting. We'll be doing a kind of a draft show. It'll be our normal time, 8 to 10 Central next Thursday. It'll be myself and Scott. We're going to try to. Sam will be live, boots on the ground at the draft. So when he comes back, you'll be able to tell us about his experience.
LTS credential badge walking through.
Hopefully, Johnny will be able to join us next week as well. We'll try to get some few guests in on Thursday too, just to kind of get their team's perspective as the draft will still be going on when we come on air, and then it'll still be going on probably when we get off air. So we'll be talking about all things NFL draft next Thursday night. And then, but we'll be back Monday as well, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern with Jim and Jonathan. Please check out me and Whit did head kicks and haymakers last night, UFC 300 post show. Talked all things UFC 300, and even talked about the Haney Garcia fight that's going to happen Saturday night. I'm actually going to meet up with the buffoon Tanner. So be going to Brewers Cardinals game. I think I'm just going to have to dress regular clothes and not any coat. But
I will be on with Adrian. I will be on with Adrian Peterson this weekend for a mock draft. So everybody tune in on Saturday at 6 o'clock. So
if Cooper DeJean isn't going to the Packers, then both of you are for your shitty ass draft.
We're just going off Allen's mock draft, but I agree with you. I think Cooper DeJean should be a newly minted Green Bay Panther next year.
I hope he is. God, I would love it. Because he didn't go. I read on Cooper, he went to 4 or 5 different his draft day. His draft top 30 thing was shorter because of all the injury stuff he had to get through and all this. And the Packers weren't one of the teams, so I'm a little nervous about that. But maybe they don't need him. They got enough Iowa guys that can.
Iowa football coming to Green Bay, Wisconsin. Tune in.
Hey, we got Lucas Van Ness last year. Get Cooper today. Cooper this year. We're Iowa and Georgia guys. That seems all we draft. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's the plans for the future. God, no. Brian Ferentz shouldn't even be the offensive coordinator for Putunk, Missouri High School. That's the offense he ran.
Wow.
Yeah. Shithole. All right. Anyway, it's the show, folks. So yeah, it's great NBA talk all night. Be a friend, tell a friend, like, subscribe, share. We'll see you guys. This Sunday show. Big Mike from the Man Cave is going to be joining me at 7 o'clock Central. So please tune in for that. So, Sam, get that outro, baby. Let's get at it.
Living La Vida.
Have a weekend.
Come on.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, rest